This is a story of the passion that Wall had for photography, particularly taking weddings, more particularly taking the brides and the bridesmaids.
We believe Wall took over 20,000 photos, and we think that the earliest one was 1946, so over 50 years of weddings.
Wally came into this world marching to the sound of a different drum. The beat that Wally heard all his life was soft and gentle. It didn't include envy, greed, malice or unkindness in any form.
Wall had a lot of common sense. He knew how to live. He knew the best ways of living with the disability that he had, and he never complained. He got on with his lot. When we went to find this collection in Wall's back shed, very nicely stored, very safely stored, but in total disarray almost. I'm Janice Mahalik. I'm Wall's niece. We had no idea of the extent of the collection and the quality of the collection. So I think it's been really quite astounding for the townsfolk to see all this, as it was for us as we put it together, to find such an invaluable treasure.
That's me. And a friend of ours, Bill Dyer. Yeah.
That would have been in the mid-60s?
Oh,
early 60s?
1966,
60s.
I'd say.
You were in it or what?
I was around.
One of the exciting things is no one's actually seen these pictures before. A few people used to come and buy his work, but he had trouble communicating.
I knew for a long time that Wall had a big collection of photos. I knew they were in albums. I knew that there was no names on them. I knew that there was no dates. But he couldn't read or write. Spent very, very little time at school, probably no more than 6 months. But he picked up all his knowledge from the School of Experience.
Mrs. Chadwick, how did Wall know where the weddings were then? How did he find out?
Well, I read the Maryborough paper to him every Tuesday and Fridays. Well, Fridays the weddings were always in the paper, and I used to read all the weddings to him, and that's how he knew.
This is Mrs. Jean Chadwick. She's a local identity. She's lived here all her life, and she's been a very dear friend to Wall all his life.
You see him tearing down the street on the bike to the next wedding. One would be up the Catholic Church, one would be in the United Church.
He rode from Maryborough to Avoca to Denali, 99% of the time uninvited, very often invited to the reception, because many of those weddings that he didn't go to, the people knew him, knew his circumstances, accepted him and invited him into the wedding. Often they'd have a place already set for him, knowing that he would be there.
His gift was how to capture the personality of the portrait. They're witty, they're candid, their structure is the thing that really blows me away. He's done his main job of taking a picture of a bride. But in the background, we have, because he had the shakes, his eyes were askew, he'd never been trained properly, angles that, well, they're just not traditional senses of what a wedding photograph is. He used to often go in cars, like the wedding party would arrive, and he'd leap into the car and take a picture. So we've got hundreds of pictures of this couple sort of going...
Wall didn't have a great deal of power of speech, very hard to understand. You had to, I'll say, tune into what he was saying. As time progressed, his speech became more difficult to understand.
It did mean that you never got to ask him in-depth questions about why he liked weddings or why he did something or didn't do something. I think that was very isolating for him, and it meant now that we get to this stage of time and we don't really know. We can only guess at his motives.
Wally sort of has an innocence about him that there's a fascination with beauty, and all that energy is really positive. It's like him, it's got no cynicism. It's a real celebration of a fabulous looking person in a fabulous situation, celebrating a great time. As he gets older, the camera slowly leans to the left, and eventually you get most of the people in the bottom right-hand corner. We've finally got the pictures catalogued. Now the people can come in and look and give the true information and the true history of the township.
The whole collection will be donated to the Midlands Historical Society, and they'll be kept here in Maryborough forever then.
It makes me proud and it makes me really excited, because here's someone who's followed their passion without any particular reward.
We could never have done this exhibition with him alive, because he would never have let us touch his photos.
Wall died last year after a short illness of cancer.
They just loved him for the happy, natural self that he was. But he was an icon in the end in the town. At
one stage it was considered bad luck for the bride and groom that if Wally wasn't at the wedding. I think the story that goes with it will live on in Maryborough for some long period of time.